Welcome back. Well, the situation around the CR17 emails continues to swirl around the ANC. This morning, the former Economic Freedom Fighters Member of Parliament, Mokwele, told the SABC she had received money from now President Cyril Ramaphosa for help with an NGO and because she needed money after suffering a bereavement. She said the money was placed directly into her account in November 2017 after she approached officials at the Deputy Presidency at the time. Mokwele and another EFF MP Nkagisang Mokgosi both resigned last night. They both said they'd received 80,000 rand from the CR17 account. There's also been a promise from the ANC over the last few days that its officials will stop fighting with each other on Twitter. The national spokesperson for the African National Congress is Pule Mabe. He joins us now from our Cape Town studios. Pule, good evening to you. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for joining us. Firstly, the emails, the information that comes from them, the two EFF MPs who resigned because they received money from this account. Are you worried that this account was giving money to members of an opposition party in any way?
Evening, Stephen, and evening to your viewers. To the extent that they had themselves made an explanation on how those donations would have been made, to the extent that it had to deal with situations that individuals shall have faced at the time. You would know that we are a country that is constructed on strong grounds of humility. We are a very humane country in that way. But of course, I wouldn't want to enter that fray. Safe to say that, Stephen, and I think I've emphasized this point when I spoke to you previously, that it is important that under these conditions now, we all put our energies on what is critical to move the country forward. There are a number of things that we should be exhausting our energies on. One is to deal with the economic conditions that we find ourselves in. The ANC has previously issued a statement to try and deal with these issues, including trying to call on all of its members to subject themselves to communications protocols which govern and guide the conduct of our own cadres on various platforms.
Right, well, I mean, I accept all of what you said.
I think, yes, I think the other issue, Stephen, is that, of course, I mean, in this country, we've got bodies like the FIC, which bodies those are credible bodies which would have to effectively look into how bank statements of companies, of private individuals, tend to find themselves out in the public in this way. I mean, you would know that it is desired that when you open a bank account with a financial institution, with a bank, there are certain things or prescripts that are supposed to be adhered to. One of those is client confidentiality and all of that. I think that we have got a constitution in this country that speaks strongly on the preservation of privacy and all of that. So what we are seeing here is what has now gone out to also take away what is supposed to be the rights enjoyed by those individuals, either through the entities that they shall have been a part of. I wouldn't want to get into an area of merits or demerits and all of that. The fact is that how sensitive information like that get out to the public, we should all be worried. You know, before we know it, we'll find ourselves with information that is out there, and when it doesn't really belong out there, and end up creating unnecessary issues.
Well, I mean, this is not a legal question, it's really a political question. The political question is, why would the person who's now the leader of your party and the leader of the country as the president, why would an account that is linked to him be giving money to two MPs from a political party that strongly criticizes him and the people he deploys on a regular basis? It's a question around politics. Surely voters have a right to know why one member of a party, leader of a party, is giving money to people of another party who claim to be criticizing him.
Well, Stephen, without even going into the question of money, let me just help you. I come from Phalaborwa, out in Limpopo. On weekends, normally I go home to attend funerals. Are you saying that if there is a funeral in my street of a person who belongs to an opposition party, out of strong humility and where I come from, I'm not supposed to be attending that, because if I am seen by people in my streets who know me to be belonging to the ANC, they could characterize that action to be against or going against the values of the party. We are Africans. We are schooled in a different way. Out in our communities, we socialize with people who do not necessarily share the same ideological stand with us. So we should not allow some of these things that are playing themselves out in the public to remove us from the very Africanist outlook that has come to define us as a people.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about one of the other issues that's been in the frame over the last few days. Pule, you know there's been a lot of action on Twitter over the last 6 months, maybe a year, maybe longer, where we see senior ANC leaders, often members of your National Executive Committee, publicly disagreeing with each other. There was a promise, was actually last week here on The Full View from your Deputy Secretary General, Jesse Duarte, that this would stop. What actions are you now taking to stop this?
Well, as an immediate action, Stephen, I can assure you and the rest of the viewers of the SABC throughout the country and those that are members of the African National Congress in good standing, that at the 54th National Conference, and as an assurance, we adopted a communications protocol, and we can assure them that we are now going to enforce the implementations of the protocols. We have also said that our own NDC, our own National Disciplinary Committee, as well as our own Integrity Committee, have got to make sure that as part of the work that they are expected to do to preserve the conduct of, to safeguard the integrity and standing of the African National Congress, and as well as regulating the conduct of our members, to make sure that such conduct is consistent and in keeping with the good values of the ANC, the protocol is put in force, so that if there is a visible acts of people or individual comrades acting in a manner that goes against the spirit of the protocols, those members could be called before the NDC to come and explain themselves. You would know that bringing the African National Congress into disrepute is a serious charge, and one that the ANC must be seen to be acting on. We must do this because discipline in the African National Congress is not negotiable. It is something that our members are expected to exercise at all material times. More so because when our members join the African National Congress, they sign an oath of allegiance where they join voluntarily as members, and they agree to subject themselves to the values of the African National Congress, do everything in their own endeavor and power to promote the unity of the ANC and its own ideals. So things that veer off the line and tend to undermine all of that tend to make it difficult for the African National Congress to pursue its agenda of constructing a national democratic society.
Is this going to apply to just members of the NEC, or will it apply to all leaders? I mean, will it apply to Mzwandile Messina as well, for example?
Well, the protocols apply to all of the members of the African National Congress, whether it's Messina or anyone of our members, whether it's comrades in branches, those who lead regions, those who are in the Provincial Executive Committee, those who are in the National Executive Committee. All of us must be the apex representation of good conduct in the African National Congress. Let me make this point, Stephen, that when leaders of the African National Congress carry themselves in a manner that promotes the good values of the ANC, what that does is that it also works to inspire the confidence of society. We have got the task at hand which we must fulfill. And that task has got to do with us dealing with a contracting economy. We've got to assure our people that the manifesto that we went out to sell during the electioneering period is one that will be able to work towards helping all of us to build the South Africa of our dreams.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Zondo Commission, if we can, Pule. It is celebrating, well, I don't know if celebrating is the right word, its first birthday today. Its terms of reference only for 2 years, so it's sort of at the halfway point. Much of the testimony that has come has involved people from the ANC. Sometimes it's about people in the ANC. Sometimes it's been people in the ANC testifying. You still support the work of the Commission?
Well, the African National Congress fully supports the work that the Judicial Commission into state capture is undertaking. You would know that this is also the work that they are doing was actually affirmed through our own Congress resolution. We said that there must be a judicial commission into state capture to be able to assess all of the facts, call individuals who might have information that would assist, so that we can make and so that a judicial body of reputable men and women could be able to assess that kind of evidence and make a determination on whether the state, our own state, was captured or not. Now, we can only do that when you have got such a judicial body that has been set up. We have even issued statements ourselves in the past year that the commission has been in existence, calling on all our members to cooperate with the work of the commission, give whatever information that is available at their disposal without them being intimidated, so that when the commission analyzes and assesses all information that it shall have received, it can then make the conclusion or make an assess or make a view that South Africans are supposed to be enlightened on whether our state was captured or not. But out of this, then say, what do we do to make sure that if there was a blight of corruption that might have engulfed our beautiful country, what do we do to make sure that going forward we build a credible, capable, ethical, developmental state that is able to discharge its own mandate away from the frames of suspicion, that is able, where we are able to deploy public representatives who do the best of their endeavor to make sure that they serve the people that shall have voted or helped construct this democratic government.
Pule Mabe, I do appreciate you taking
So we are quite encouraged that they are continuing to do their work, and we will again call on all of South Africans who will be invited in the near future to go to the Zondo Commission to do so in earnest, so that we can all contribute towards the work of this commission and ultimately know that when assessment is made, we could be able to say that our own participation as individuals has enriched this work and has allowed us to know whether our state was captured or not.
Pule Mabe, thank you very much indeed. Do appreciate you taking the time out to speak to us here in the SABC. The African National Congress, says National Spokesperson Pule Mabe.